So, we are in the middle of this canto. Now, we are going to do fourth section of this canto. Still, there are three more cantos after sections after this one, you see. This is a short canto. In fact, all the sections here are short, relatively short. This is hardly just 20 sentences, about 90 lines, or roughly 600 words, you see. But you see, I mean, each section makes an important point of development from stage to stage, how things are progressing, and the entire thing, as I've been telling always, is developed in the form of a very systematic thesis. A logical sequence is presented. Now, of course, we don't know really whether chronologically it happened exactly in the same way. That this experience came and then this experience came, or this experience came and then this experience, that we can't say. Maybe suddenly this happened, then this happened, then this happened. So, it is very likely that these experiences did not appear in that sequential manner. Something was happening, then perhaps you are exploring what it is, you are finding something missing in that, you do yoga and then do something else, and then you kind of reset your whole procedure and proceed like that, you see. So, it is in a way scientific also. It is not just a kind of an unrolling of things. Scientifically, you are investigating and proceeding step by step in that way, you see. In a divine retreat from mortal thought. Divine retreat is a very high retreat, withdrawal from the mortal thought. You see, we had seen last time, a nameless marvel filled the motionless hours. That is the line we have been discussing last time, you see. A nameless marvel filled the motionless hour. It's an absolutely beautiful line. One of the finest examples of the overmind poetry in Savitri. This line is coming directly from the overmind. This is my way of putting it. A nameless marvel filled the motionless. See how it keeps out, the vibration keeps on going on like that, endlessly. It doesn't kind of stop anywhere. It is a mantric line coming from one side of infinity, staying in front of you for a while, and going again to the other side of infinity. That is the character of the mantric line. Suddenly it appears in front of you like that, stands there rigidly, firmly, makes its impact and moves on. The vibrations continue. A nameless marvel filled the motionless hour. Of course, I told you last time about the alliterations of M and L, so that gives you kind of a softness also to the line, you see, in terms of sound, you see. Now, this is an experience of the yogi, Ashwapati himself. A nameless marvel filled the motionless hour. Whose hours? His own hours. He has become still now, quiet, solitude, hush, silence is there. And in that hour of his yoga, it is in that he sees a kind of a marvel filling up the whole place, you see, completely, you see. His spirit mingles with eternity's heart. So, what is the marvel? The marvel is his spirit now becomes a part of eternity's heart. His spirit mingles with eternity's heart and bears the silence to the infinite. That is the marvel. That is the marvel. Bears the silence of the infinite. See, I mean, these are two different things. These are two different things. Spirit mingling with eternity is one thing. And the second thing is that spirit now bearing the silence of the infinite. It's not just mingling and remaining there. It is able to hold the silence in itself. So these are basically two siddhis, two realizations. That's the marvel. His spirit mingles with eternity's heart, eternity's core, eternity's central part. That is what the heart means. The central essence of eternity. It is in that it mingles, it joins there, becomes one. Now, after that, then it is able to bear the power of the silence of the infinite. The power of the silence of the infinite, you see. Now, that is the great experience. Now, he is already in the divine state. That is the divine state in which he is present, you see. And bear the silence of the infinite in a divine retreat. Therefore, now from that, he is there. From that now, he is withdrawing for something else. He is in that, he is now withdrawing. In a divine retreat from mortal thought, in a prodigious gesture of soul sight, he is being towered into pathless height, naked of his vesture of humanity. See, the name of the canto itself is freedom of the spirit. The canto itself is the name of the spirit. Now, after mingling with eternity's heart, his spirit has become free, it is able to bear things, and therefore no more of humanity, no more of mortality, no more of traces of this ignorant world are present in him. In a divine retreat from mortal thought, he is there now. In a prodigious gesture of soul sight, that is the soul sight. You see, that is a sight which is not given by anybody to him, but a sight which he has now acquired. A sight which he has acquired, you see. See, in the Gita, we have got the 11th chapter of the Gita, we have got what is called the Vishwarupa Darshana, the revelation of the cosmic spirit. Arjuna wants to see this timeless form of Krishna, but he can't see with his mortal eyes, charma chakshu, the eye and the skin, he can't see with that. So he is given divya chakshu, divine eye, divine sight. So he is given. So basically what had happened there was the divya chakshu, the divine sight, was lent to him for a while. He had the full darshan of the Supreme. He sees him in his 1,000 forms, in his majestic forms and all that. And then once that is over, that is kind of withdrawn. He is just like that. Now here it is not. This soul sight is now his permanent asset. His soul sight is now his permanent asset. It is there always. He will see that with that divya chakshu, with that divine eye, he will see now everything. He is being towered into pathless heights. Pathless heights where there are no routes chalked out, no ways made out, no highways prepared for any kind of a work at all. In other words, pathless without path, blank. It's not, see, in empty spaces, vastnesses only. Now, in other words, what is going to happen is he is towering to pathless. In other words, he is going to prepare paths. He is going to pathless side, it means that he is going to prepare paths. That is the suggestion here. There are no roads hewed out, no paths hewed out. Now he is going to hew them out, you see. He is being towered high, means he is climbing up, without any path there. Well, at one particular time, perhaps it was the same thing to climb Mount Everest. There were no paths how to go and all that. But then you cut out the path yourself, find out by experience and trial. He is being, now here, being stands for everything. of his. Being stands for everything of his, you see. It's not only soul or mind or physical, the entire personality of Ashwapati. He is being towered into pathless height, naked of his vesture of humanity. So there is nothing of the mortal's limitation in him, nothing of the ignorance of this creation in him. His being is now free of total ignorance also, naked of his vesture. You see, that is what, well, he has taken the mortal birth, so he has put on the mortal vesture, mortal body he has taken. As thus it rose, it stands for being. As thus it rose to meet him bare and pure. A strong descent leaped down. A strong descent leaped down. Descent itself is a noun which is descending, you see. Descent itself is descending. What a beautiful construction. And it is strong, of course, strong, very powerful. He can bear that weight now because he has already seen that. He bears the silence, so he can bear that strong descent. He can bear the strong descent, you see. That silence is there, and therefore the silence has the power to hold that descent. Strong means, of course, it is a divine descent. D is capital. D is capital. It's a divine descent. Leap down. Now, this is not something which he was kind of expecting. He had no idea that such a thing will happen. It came, it leaped down. He was so ready. He was so ready that the response was automatic, spontaneous, immediate, at once. He was not asking even for that kind of a thing. But his readiness was such that there was an automatic response from the higher power, you see. And therefore, yes, you are ready. I am coming down, I am jumping down now in you. I am jumping down. Without his even calling for it. In fact, in words, it means that he was not even kind of expecting anything of the sort. His sadhana, his tapasya was not even to pull down that descent. It happened because his preparedness, his entire being now is so ready that the descent feels happy to be in him. To be in him, you see. And therefore it comes down automatically. So that sort of a preparation is required. You don't have to pull it down. It comes down. You don't have to pull it down, you see. What is strong descent? And you see, this is one of the rarest examples in the construction of Savitri. You have got here, as thus it rose to meet him bare and pure, a strong descent leaped down. There is a full stop in between. The line has an enjambment. There is a full stop in between, you see. This is one of the rarest. In the first part of Savitri, in fact, most of the Savitri except except book 8 and book 12, all the lines are end stopped. There are a few examples in part 1 where you have got a full stop in between the line, you see. This is one of the rarest examples. As thus it rose to meet him bare and pure, a strong descent leaped down, a might, a flame, a beauty, half visible with netless eyes, a violent ecstasy, a sweetness dire, enveloped him with a stupendous limb, and penetrated nerve and heart and brain, that thrilled and fainted with the epiphany. His nature shuddered in the unknown's grasp. So that is a marvel. That is a marvel. A marvel, a nameless marvel. That is a nameless marvel. A nameless marvel filled his motionless hours. Motionless silence which can bear the descent. So this is the description of a marvel which was left undescribed in the earlier part, you see. Who are coming down? A might, Shakti, strength, power, flame, Agni, aspiration, will. Flame stands for aspiration, will. Beauty, Saundarya. Half visible. What is that beauty? Half visible with deathless eye. See, although you have deathless eyes, you may have deathless eyes, it does not still mean that you are going to see the full beauty. It is still half. In other words, that beauty is far, far beyond any sight. Far, far beyond any sight. It cannot comprehend, it cannot comprise, encompass the whole of beauty. Beauty half visible. You see, it is still half visible with all that things. A strong descent lived down, a might, a flame, a beauty half visible with deathless eyes, a violent ecstasy, a powerful, assertive. Violent does not mean in the normal sense as we use here. Violent means very strong, very powerful, unbearable, so to say. A violent ecstasy, you see. In fact, that is what happened. Her violent heart lived down. The Divine Mother's boon, which will give a violent heart, a violent ecstasy, a sweetness. So, who are descending? Might, flame, beauty, ecstasy, sweetness. Might, Shakti, flame, Agni, beauty, Saundarya, ecstasy, Ananda, sweetness, Madhurya. So these five elements are now descending in him. That is a marvel. You see, might alone is not sufficient. Flame alone is not sufficient. Beauty alone is not sufficient. Ecstasy, of course, alone is not sufficient. And sweetness. Now, when he is talking of might, beauty, ecstasy, sweetness, flame, of course, we can keep aside for a minute. They mean they are the feminine powers. The aspects of the Divine Mother, of Divine Shakti, who is descending in him? The aspects of beauty, of strength, of Ananda, of sweetness, Madhurya, you see. These are the aspects of the feminine, you see. Enveloped him with a stupendous flame. Now, enveloped him with its stands for again the descent. It stands for descent. In the second line, a strong descent enveloped with its stupendous flame. The stupendous flames of the descent that might, whosoever is in, and penetrated nerve and heart and brain. You see again, the descent is penetrating into him. Where? Into his nerves, into his heart, into his brain. Now these are actually the physical parts of his body. It is not that it is in his soul, that in his spirit, but the very physical is receiving that descent. That very physical is receiving that descent. Enveloped him with his stupendous limb, you see, so stupendous, mighty limb, and they are embracing him completely, limb, and penetrated nerve and heart and brain, that thrilled and fainted with the epiphany. That thrilled and fainted, that stands for nerve and heart and brain. Thrilled and fainted with epiphany, manifestation, darshana. Epiphany, darshana. He has the darshana of the Divine Mother, divine power, in divinity, epiphany. His nature shuddered in the unknown grasp. Because he has taken the mortal birth, he is inconscient. So it is too strong to bear, too powerful for him to bear. Shuddered. In a moment shorter than death, longer than time. What a line again, you see. It's a long line also. In a moment shorter than death, longer than time. In a moment, there is an anapest. In a moment short. Second foot is I am, shorter than death. Third foot is anapest. So I got anapest, I am, anapest. In the first half. Longer, crocky than time, I am. So that is the scansion. What a beautiful line. In a moment shorter than death, longer than time. See, shorter moment, shorter than death. You really don't know whether the chap is living or dead. At a moment he's talking, next, not even a split second, absolutely no time, he's no more there. Suddenly something else. In other words, the soul withdraws in such a manner that it doesn't take time to leave the body at all.
Is it always like that? Sometimes it takes a long time, no?
But the soul, when it leaves, you may not be conscious of it. But when it leaves the body, when the death really occurs at that moment, at the moment, see, I mean, there is no there suddenly, you see. Just like that. Absolutely. I mean, you are sitting all around the bed, the person is there, he is responding, you are feeling on that, and suddenly he is not there. That is moment shorter than death. Death does not take time to naturally do that kind of a thing, you see. It happens. I mean, maybe the whole thing is arranged first. It may take a long time and all that kind of a thing to arrange and prepare and that sort of a thing. But at the exact moment of death, it is a 0 second. It is a 0 second shorter than you see. In other words, it is immeasurable. It is so short. You can't really control it. In other words, you have absolutely at that time no control over things, what is going to happen. See, if it were going to take a longer time, maybe you could manipulate a few things here and there. Maybe you could manipulate a few things here and there. It does not give any chance to that sort of a thing at all, you see. Longer than time. Yeah, well, but that moment still is so long, you see, so long. Endless, you see. I mean, this is an absolutely occult description. At the moment of death, actually what happened. Now, perhaps even the person who is dying, he does not know that any second things will stop and he will be no more there. See, any second, he also doesn't know it all, you see. Any second can happen. Actually, it happens in the occult world, shorter than death in terms of the occult time, longer than death also in terms of occult time, not in terms of our physical time, not in our physical time. See, you take this scene of the death of Satyavan. He feels extremely uneasy and uncomfortable and all that kind of a thing, you see. And then he says, Savitri, please lean down and let me lie in your lap. Kiss me while I die. He says, kiss me while I... He is conscious, he is speaking all that thing. And suddenly, he is no more there. Suddenly, he is no more there, you see. He is conscious. Savitri holds him. And Savitri sees somebody standing there to seize his soul, you see, to snatch it away. So, in a moment shorter than that, longer than time. I don't think in any occult description of death you have this measure given. You have given this measure. By a power more ruthless than love. Yeah, love can be ruthless, you see. Love is not emotional endearment. Happier than heaven. Now that death, who is snatching away the soul, is ruthless than love. His power, he is full of love. See, even full of love, you can be very harsh with the person with whom you are loving. You can be very harsh with the person whom you are loving, you see. That harshness does not mean that it is real harshness. It is also a part of love. It is also a part of love, you see. By a power more ruthless than love, happier than heaven. So death is happy also because he is taking you on the heavenward path. the happier one. Taken sovereignly into eternal arms, taken sovereignly into eternal arms, hailed and course by stark absolute bliss. Hailed and course is pull, is forced to do. Hail means pull. You drag a load, you see, that's called hail. Hail and course with stark absolute bliss. It is that bliss which is really pulling you up. So that is the power of breathlessness of love. Breathlessness of love. Shorter than death, obviously. Absolutely. In a whirlwind circuit of delight and force, whirlwind circuit of delight and force, hurried into unimaginable depth. Above into immeasurable height, above into immeasurable height. He's carrying up now. It was torn out from its mortality and underwent a new and boundless change. So that is the kind of a transformation which has taken place in him now, you see. Underwent a new and boundless without any boundaries, without any shore anywhere, boundless. And underwent a new and boundless change, limitless change, unlimited, soulless change. So that is a marvel. So that's the whole description of marvel. A nameless marvel, you see. And omniscient, knowing without sight or thought. Omniscient does not need sight, does not need thought to know things. It knows in its own right. And indecipherable omnipotent and indecipherable omnipotent. You cannot be coded out. That omnipotence cannot be coded out, deciphered, coded out, you see, it cannot be, you see. A mystic form that could contain the world, a mystic form that could contain the world. So, see the hugeness of this form, the hugeness of this form that could contain the worlds, not one world, all the world. Love was in her wider than the universe. Her body could contain. You see, this is the description we have got of Savitri in the second canto of the symbol dawn, after the symbol dawn. You see, the issue. A mystic form that could contain the world, yet make one human breast its passionate shrine. Now, that form is so wide that it can hold all the worlds in it. But then it has the power to become small and live in a human breast, as if that human breast is its shrine. In other words, that descent is coming and living in him as if it is his shrine, you see, as if it is shrine. The form is very big, very large, omniscient, which knows without sight, thinking and all that thing. Omnipotence is there, a mystic form is there, drew him out of his seeking loneliness into the magnitudes of God's embrace. God's embrace. Now, drew him out of his seeking loneliness. He was looking for solitude, for silence, for aloofness. Now, beyond that, he has to come back into the dynamics and wideness of this existence here. And therefore, that is possible only when that form finds itself in the shrine. It makes that human body of his now its shrine and resides there in it, you see. Yet make one human breast, that is Ashwapati, who has gone up there, you see. Its passionate shrine, passionate. Passionate does not mean the passion in which we are free. Passionate means which has an intense commitment to do certain things. Intense commitment to do certain things. Passion. The gods drove Agni, sent Agni into the human breast with their passion. How had the immortal come and started living in the mortal? Agni was sent by the gods. Agni was told, go and live in the mortal. and therefore the mortal started growing. The psychic being, that is how it entered in him, and then it started growing up, you see. Now, God sent Agni in their passion, in their commitment to creation, in their kind of responsibility to do certain things for this creation. They sent Agni. Yes, you had to go there. It is because the gods sent him into the human breast that human progress, human evolution is possible now here. That is what the Rigveda says. Agni was sent by the gods into the human. But now here, Ashwapati is already there. What is this? It is the divine form itself which has now made this house his shrine, and he is doing the work. You yet make one human breast is passionate shrine. Passionate shrine, you see, that's the whole thing. That form and shrine. That figure, murti. Form is murti. Deity, statue, what you want to call it, you see. Murti. Form that could contain the world, yet make one human breast is passionate shrine. Drew him out of his seeking loneliness into the magnitudes of God's embrace. Now, God's embrace, because God will embrace every creation, every aspect. You can't remain aloof and alone. Everything is contained here. So, now it is with that descent, Ashwapati can embrace the entire creation in his bosom and do his work there. And to the magnitudes of God, magnitudes of God's embrace. See, magnitude is not one measure, two measure, many measures of embrace. Many measures of embrace. See. And to the magnitudes of God's embrace, as when the timeless eye annuls the hours. Yeah, timeless eye, well, annuls the hour. Timeless and hour. Hours will go away only with that timeless eye, you see. When we have got that sight, that vision, omniscience. Abolishing the agent and the act. Karta and karma. Agent is karta, the doer of work. Act is the work. So there is neither the doer of the work, nor the work. Abolishing the agent and the act. So now his spirit shone out, white, blank, pure. So now his spirit shone out, white, blank, pure. What a wonderful line. So now I am his spirit, I am shone, again I am out white, and I am blank, pure, spotty. So it gives you a forceful assertion of the whole thing, you see. So now his spirit shone out, white, blank, pure. His vacant mind became an empty slate on which the universal and soul could write. Empty slate. So that is what we used to have in our childhood, you see. We used to have a slate and we used to write and then empty out, clean it and write another thing, you see, lesson after lesson. We were not given papers and notebooks. In those days, we had slates, you see. You are also slates, yeah, that's right, yeah, that's right. Yeah, you will be slate like that, yeah. And then there was special pencil like that, you used to write on that, you see. But they were very breakable, very fragile. If you drop it, that was empty slate, blank. Empty here stands for blank, without any writing on it. Empty a slate is empty does not mean that the slate is empty. The slate is without any writing on it. His vacant mind.
Who was the timeless eye?
As man a timeless eye, well, he will give an example. He is giving a simile. The timeless eye of the infinite.
Timeless eye is the infinite.
Of the infinite. Of the eternal. Of the eternal. As man a timeless eye of the eternal. The way the eternity will look at the passing hours. The way the eternity will look at the passing hours. What does it look? In that look, there is neither the worker nor the work. agent nor act. So now his spirit shone out wide. In other words, now his spirit has now started seeing with that eye of eternity. His spirit has started seeing, and therefore it's a blank slate. Pure, blank, pure. His vacant mind became an empty slate on which, see, that is the thing. You have to completely empty out yourself. Then only you get it proper inscription. Then only you get it proper inscription. The mind has to become absolutely silent. Mind should not make its own formulations. See, if the mind is active and starts making some formulation, if something is coming, it will jump upon that and try to do this, try to do that thing. Mind has to be absolutely quiet. This is something more beyond the empty mind, beyond the silent mind. Beyond the silent mind. His vacant mind, vacant mind became an empty slate on which the universal and soul could write. Universal, the cosmic, Vishwa Purusha. Soul alone, who is alone, could write. All that represses our fallen consciousness, all that represses. I mean, now this is what is happening. Now from below there are agents who will interfere, who will repress things also. All that represses our fallen consciousness was taken from him like a forgotten load. Well, he was carrying that load, but now he has become empty, pure. See, I said, empty, blank, pure. He has become empty, blank. All that represses our fallen consciousness, was taken from him like a forgotten load. So, now who has taken that thing? And that is the power of the descent. The power of the descent has achieved that thing for him, was taken from him. By whom? By the descent. A fire the same, the body of a God. The fire the same, the body of a God. Body of a God, that is the fire. The fire looked like the body of a God, you see. It is not just flames. It is not just one fire, but as if that whole thing is the body of a God.
Sometimes the bonfire.
Yeah. You see, it's kind of a body of a God which you see there, you see.
Figures inside.
It's not just empty, it's vibrations. You see as if there is a kind of deity, there is a form, there is a murti, you see, present there. The same. The body of a God. Now, this is a very original phrase. Fire looking like a body of a God. Fire looking like a body of a God. Very original kind of an occult description. Very rare. You don't normally see. See, you see Agni and all that thing, but there is no form, figure, fixity as such there, you see, contours. In the Rig Veda, there is a mention of Agni having his back of light. His back is of light. By the way, I mean, this phrase, what we have seen earlier, it means, because now as I opened my book, 21.3, and underwent a new and boundless change. Underwent a boundless change. 21.3, last line. Now, boundless. Now, this boundless is, of course, without boundaries, without limits, without shores, without borders. This word boundless appears 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times in Savitri. 5 times in Savitri, boundless. The first appearance is boundless self, 8.15. Boundless time, 16.9. Boundless change, that is what we got, 21.3. Boundless sea, 79.35. The sea which has no shore, 79.35. boundless, vast, Brahat, Brahat. It has no boundaries at all anywhere. Brahat, boundless one. 89.51. 89.51. That boundless appears 5 times in Savitri. Body of a God is what we are trying to see. A fire, that is of course an I am, that same and I am. The Ba and I am. D-O, spirit, and then a God and I am. A fire, the same, the body of a God. Now, fire pure and purifying. This fire is not only pure but is also purifying. Fire that purifies is called Agni Pavakan. Agni the purifier. That itself is pure and makes you also pure. You see. Agni Pavakam, purifying with his back of light. With his back of light. That is what the Rigveda says. Rigveda, Mandala 4. Mandala 5. Sukta 4. Sukta 4. Fire pure and purifying with his back of light. Shuchim Pavakam, Shuchim Pavakam, Shuchi, pure. Pavakam, purifier, purifying. Dhruta Prishtam, back of Agni, of light. Shuchim Pavakam, Dhruta Prishtam, Agnim. So that is the description in the Rigveda, that Agni has a back of light and it is he who is purifying here. Now here we have got a fire the same, the body of a God. It is not only the back now, the whole body. The whole body of Agni is present here. A fire the same, the body of a God. Consume the limiting figures of the past. Consume. Obviously consume stands for purification. It has purified. Agni, the purifier, consume the limiting figure. What does it consume? All that thing limits, narrows you down, figures of the past, and made large room for a new cell to live. That is the work of Agni. It purifies and then prepares you for larger aspects of existence of life. Unless purification is there, you cannot really make a progress also. It is meaningless. Unless you are purified, if the divine powers come, they will get contaminated. They will not stay there also. They will not even come also, you see. Purification is one thing. So, aspiration, rejection, surrender, that is the formula. Aspiration, your will, rejection, all that comes in the way, remove. Throw away. Purify. That is the work of Agni. Aspiration of the physical, the rejection in the physical, the rejection in the vital, the rejection in the mental, their rigidities all go away, you see. Once that is ready, then the divine power can come and operate. Consume the limiting figures of the past. So, what is the character of this figures of the past? The figures of the past had a tendency of limiting you to the past. The past has a tendency of limiting you to the past. It binds you to the past. It does not allow you to go further. You see. So that is what this fire is doing. A fire is seeing the body of a God. That is what the fire is doing. And made large room for a new self to live. So you are now something different. So that is how Agni will produce the divine sun in you. What is this new sun, new self? You are reborn as your own son. By the power of Agni, you are reborn as his own son, you see. And made large room for a new self to live. Eternity's contact broke the mouth of sense. Our organs of perception, they are shattered, they are broken, because now you are directly in contact with eternity. So all the senses are now the senses coming from eternity itself. The perception, the tools of cognition, sense means the tools of cognition now are of eternity, not of the human nature. cognition, understanding everything. Eternity is contrary proved with modes of sense, a greater force than earthly held his limbs. Well, it's very clear now, it isn't all about that. Huge workings, beyond his undiscovered sheath. Now, what is that force is doing? This within sheaths which we hang on, they are now discovered. You see, we have got the gross physical, we have got the subtle physical, then we have got something below, Sukshma, Karana, Sharira. So these are the different sheaths. They are getting repeated, they are coming into your view, into the operation. Huge workings bear his undiscovered sheath, Sthula Deha, Sukshma Deha, Karana Deha, Sthula, gross, Deha means body, sheath, Sthula Deha, Sukshma, subtle body, Sukshma Deha, then Karana, causal sheath, causal, supramental. So these sheaths are now getting kind of discovered, he is discovering them in the body. Strange energies, wrought and screened, tremendous hand, unbound the triple cord of mind, unbound the triple cord of mind, triple cord, the physical mind, the vital mind, the mental mind, they are removed away. See? So these are the universal God, the physical mind, the vital mind, the mental mind itself properly. Also, in the world of mind, you have got rash intelligence, you have got pygmy thought, you have got rational mind. These are also again triple cords. These are triple cords again. So they are now getting removed completely. Unwound triple cord of mind and freed the heavenly wideness of a Godhead's gaze. Godhead's gaze, that's what he was talking about. Eternity's gaze, eternity's eye. You are seeing now with that eye, you see. As through a dress the wearer's shape is seen. So you start looking at the wearer through his dress. He is no more, you don't need it. You see his original. In fact, that is what mother sees. Mother doesn't see you at all. She sees directly what you are inside, you see. As through a dress the wearer's shape is seen. They are reached through form to the hidden absolute, to form to the hidden absolute. Cosmic feeling and transcendent sight. Cosmic feeling. So not only the universal, but also something beyond that is seen here. As through a dress wearer's shape is seen. They are reached through forms. He is wearing the form, but now that form is not covered by these gross sheaths. So he is able to see something different. Increase and heighten were the instrument. What are the instruments? Instruments of cognition, of senses. We have talked of senses, These senses are now heightened. They have become keen, sharp, subtle, fine. See, they become like that. Increase and heighten with the instrument. Illusion lost her aggrandizing lane. Yeah, we are talking of illusion, dream, hallucination. No more there now. What you are saying is bare. Now, mark here. Illusion lost her aggrandizing lens. So, illusion is the feminine, you see. Maya, she is a feminine, you see. Illusion lost her aggrandizing, which enlarges all falsehood. Lost her aggrandizingly. As from her failing hand, the measures fell. Atomic looked the thing that loomed so large, atomic, small, trivial, of no consequence, of no significance. They look so small. Once that lens has gone away, that illusion has disappeared, then all that was so big for you until now, they look so trivial, so insignificant. So that is the new sight he is getting, you see. That is the new keenness of instrument. See, increase and heighten with the instrument. That is the new keenness of the instrument. See, atomic lens is there. That lens is the instrument. Now it is no more there. The little ego's ring could join no more. ring could not join. So ego is circling that thing. So it cannot join at all. Join no more. In the enormous spaces of the cell, the body now seemed only a wandering cell. Body now seemed only a wandering cell, floating the emptiness of the sky. Body now seemed. So his physical form which is there, the gross form is there, is an empty cell, wandering in the spaces. Now, this experience of wandering cell is something significant also. See, in the case of Savitri Yoga, Savitri has discovered her soul. The divine Shakti has entered into her spirit, into her soul. The divine Shakti has entered into her soul. So, as far as her soul and spirit are concerned, they are joined at it. But still, her physical nature is there. Physical nature which is born of inconscience, it is present there. And therefore, she has to undergo the experience of nirvana. She has to empty out. Discovering the soul, discovering the spirit is not sufficient. What about your physical nature? Gross nature, everything, inconscient nature in which you have taken the birth, what about that? You have to empty it out. You have to throw it out. Nirvana, blow them out. Nirvana means you have to blow them out completely, see. Then only you are totally free from this possibility. So Savitri is asked to empty herself out completely like that. Annul thyself, that only God be. Annul, empty out completely. Remove yourself fully, that you are no more there. And when she comes to a certain point, she finds that her body is a kind of a hollow shell moving the air. There is nothing in that body, you see. In fact, the references are 130.15. 130.15. You can read that thing, 130.15. And 130.34. Hollow shell. The hollowness is there, you see. So that is the experience of Ashwapati is already having now here. That is what we say. Savitri's experience comes after the discovery of the soul. Here it is there now. The body now seemed only a wandering cell. The ba, I am. The now, I am. Seemed own, spontaneously, a, one, anapis, the ring shell, anapis. So you got two anapis after the spondy. The body now seemed only a one, the ring shell. His mind, the manifest courtyard, court, outer court, his mind, manifest court, outer court, of an imperishable inhabitant. So he has become now a place for the imperishable inhabitant to come here. His spirit breathes his superhuman air. So that is the freedom of the spirit. That's what is getting, you see. His spirit breathes his superhuman air. The imprisoned deity rent his magic pen. That inhabitant which is there in the physical body, in the subtle body, is now completely free of that now, see. Imprisoned deity rent, that murti form, rent is magic. So this is a marvel, you see. The whole description is a marvel, you see. The imprisoned deity rent his magic pen, as with the sound of thunder of trees, vast barriers crashed around a huge escape. The thunder of sea and sound and all that thing. The imprisoned deity rent is magic. So it is the inhabitant within himself who is now becoming free completely of that, you see. The physical nature which was binding him, so it's not only the spirit but also the physical now. Immutably coeval with the world, coeval, existing together at the same time, in the same era, immutably coeval with the world, circle and end of every hope and toil, inexorably drawn round thought and act, the fixed, immovable peripheries, the boundaries, efface themselves beneath the incarnate trade. Efface themselves. So all these boundaries, all these limitations, all these circles, peripheries, all these limitations which are there, they are now completely wiped off beneath the incarnate trade. Beneath the incarnate state, incarnate. So he is the incarnate, he is asserting again, Ashwapati is the one who has taken the immortal birth, the Supreme himself who has taken the immortal birth. He is the incarnate, his path, his trade, his walk, his pace. All that thing now have removed completely all these limitations. So that is also an aspect of the spirit's freedom. See, the incarnate has taken the birth in the immortal world, in the ignorant world, in the inconscient, and the incarnate has to free himself in order to do the work for which the incarnation was taken. The incarnation was taken for a certain purpose, and the incarnate cannot do that work for which he has taken this incarnation if he is not free from these bondages, from the inconscience and all that things. So he has to make himself free. Then only he can really assert his trueness. Efface themselves beneath the incarnate ray. So this is absolutely another assertion. You see, periodically you see this kind of statement. Ashwapati is none but the Supreme who has taken the birth here. And of course Ashwapati stands for Sri Bandhu, you see. That is his biography, you see. Efface themselves between the incarnate tree. Now, this kind of a big, large change, I think still it was there when in the very early stage itself. I will again pin down all these things during the period 1909 to 1912, roughly, you see. All these things are there. Then his cosmic work begins. The Arya begins when he has got this complete freedom. All the limitations are gone completely by 1912. Efface themselves beneath the incarnate tree. He is pacing back and forth in the corridors of the guest house, and under his trade, all the limitations are gone away completely. The dire velamen and the bottomless crypt between which life and thought forever move. Yeah. Dire velamen, the outer covering, and the bottomless crypt where the holy body is kept in the church crypt. In the underground cellar, you have got this crypt, you see this. The dire velamen and the bottomless veil cover, you see, between which life and thought forever move, and between life and birth, birth and death, you see, between which life and thought forever move, forbidden still to cross the dim, dead bound, the guardian darkness, mute and formidable. Yeah, the darkness is still there, very formidable, silent there, empowered to have kind of wingless spirit in the boundaries of the mind and ignorance, protecting them out of dual eternity, vanished, resounding their enormous role. So, what was the darkness which was binding him, that boundaries of mind and ignorance, protecting no more, a dual eternity, the dark eternity, the bright eternity, vanished, resounding their enormous role. So they have given up their role. The inconscience has no more any hold now on him. Vanished, resounding their enormous role. One's figure of creation's vain ellipse, one's figure of creation's vain. You keep on orbiting back again and again the ellipse circle, you see. The expanding zero lost its giant curve. That zero, that ellipse is itself is zero. The shape of the zero is an ellipse, you see. Not a circle, you see. One's figure of creation's vain ellipse, the expanding zero lost its giant curve. The old adamantine virtues stood no more. Adamantine virtues of the dark forces, of the hostiles, of the antagonists, of the inconscience. No, there cannot be divine. No, there cannot be any joy. No, there cannot be power. These are the virtues here. Pain, suffering, death, ignorance, they are putting virtues against their counterparts of bliss and all that. Empowered were earth and nature's absolute rule. Overpowered were earth and nature's absolute rule. Yeah, no more there now governing sea. He is free of them. The python coils to the restricting law, the python, the strong, mighty whole of the evolutionary forces, python coil of the evolutionary forces, of the restricting law could not restrain the swift arisen God. The swift arisen God. Who is the swift arisen God? This incarnate, under whose tread everything has disappeared. This swift arisen God, he is arisen now, the incarnate. Could not restrain the swift arisen God, abolished with the scripts of destiny. No, because the laws of nature here, of the cosmos, of fate, they are now no more operative at all here. He is beyond these restrictions completely. There was no small death-hunted creature more, no small death-hunted creature more. Yes, we are really small people and we are really death-hunted people, but he is no more that kind. There was no small death-hunted creature, no fragile form of being to preserve from an all-swallowing immensity. What is that all-swallowing immensity? That tremendous Godhood, that mighty power, from an all-swallowing immensity, the great hammer beats of pent-up world heart, the great hammer beats. See, three compounds: hammer beats, pent-up world heart. There are three compounds here. Hammer beat, the great hammer beat. Now, normally in the compound, it is first syllable which is stress. Hammer beat. Beat does not really carry the stress. It is hammer beat, not hammer beats. Hammer beat of a pent up world heart, not word heart, world heart. It is first which carries the weight in a compound, generally. The great hammer. So the first foot will be the great hammer beats and a piece of a pent up trochee, world heart, trochee again. Burst open the narrow dams that keep us safe. Yeah, we are safe here. See, we are safe because of the death. Our life goes on because death is there protecting you. So burst open the narrow dam that keep us safe against the forces of the universe. Really, the soul and cosmos face an equal power. The soul and cosmos. The soul, the individual, and the universal, they are now mighty. Means Ashwapati is now not only free, the soul, but also all the cosmic powers are under his control, under his hold, under his governance. The soul and cosmos face an equal power, a boundless being in a measureless time, a boundless being in a measureless time, a boundless being in a measureless time, invaded nature with the infinite. So his whole nature which is there now is now completely under the control of the infinite. He saw unpath, unwalled his Titan's scope. The work which he has to do now, he is able to see it with that complete freedom, with that marvel now there, with the descent of might and flame and sweetness and bliss and ecstasy and all that thing, with that descent, he saw unpath, unwalled, his Titan scope, the great job which he has to do. What is the great job he has to do? He has to bring about transformation here. He has to see that a new creation established here. He has to see that the obstacles which comes in the way is removed He may not be able to, he may not be removing it himself, but he is going to compel a power who can remove that obstacle. The obstacle that has to go away. That can happen only if he compels that power who can remove the death. He compels a mortal birth. It is his job. So that is the Titan's scope, to bring down the divine power which can remove all the obstacles, to bring down the divine power which can bring down that obstacle. He saw unpassed. So how it is going to happen, in what manner it is going to happen? He may not have an idea, but he sees now, well, that is what has happened here. I think we'll stop with that. All was uncovered to his seeless eye. Sealess. His eye is completely open now. It is the eye of eternity which is seeing things, you see. It is the eye of eternity which is seeing things, you see.
The Titan scope, why does he use the word Titan here? Because
Titan.
normally
But Titan means very strong, very powerful, very very dominating kind of figure. Yeah, Titan means very big, enormous, in the sense of enormous, big.
The Titan is normally
I know, but this is small t, not capital T.
Ah, that's the difference.
Titan means that.
Okay, now I understand.
Titan scope, huge scope, enormous scope, big scope. The soul and cosmos faces equal power. He saw unpassed, unwalked. So he is now, see, that is the true way of doing things here. First you become free, let that power work in you, and then you start working. Then that is the only way by which you can really help the world. Not by giving charities, not by giving provisions and things like that. It is only by that. First you acquire that yogic power, yogic capacity within you, and then with that yogic capacity, you can perhaps help others to some extent.